He is the most controversial man in Christian entertainment. He talks like a squirrel on Red Bull. He is a part-time podcaster, a wannabe author, and he is the Bret Hart of Christian media. This is Caleb's Take.
And we are live, and this is the most controversial show on the gist. This is Caleb's Take. And today's take is on staying focused. So, one of the hardest things when it comes to completing your goals for the year is first off remembering what they were. We start the year all fired up and focused, but time goes on, and we start losing focus and end up not achieving everything we wanted to achieve at the beginning of the year. A big part of your achieving your goals, or at least making a big dent in them, is finding a way to break them down and keep them in front of you. A few things I do is make daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. They can help guide me towards my goals. One of my monthly goals is to review my yearly goals so that way I can be reminded of what I'm trying to accomplish. Today, I want to take this a step further though, because sometimes we have these things that can fit more of the dream category than the goal category. And maybe it's something God has called you to do, or it's something you know you want to achieve, but you're still a little ways out from achieving it, maybe in the future. Something you know it's going to take a little while. You need to grow first a little bit more before you're ever going to get to that point. So late last year, I made a vision board. I felt like I needed to. Growing up in the church, you hear a lot about faith and about praising / thanking God for things as if they've already happened. But when you grow up in church, you often get comfortable with stuff like that. So you don't always put things into action. But over the past few years, I figured out some things I wanted to do, and I've made some great strides towards those things. However, there's always that voice of doubt in the back of your mind saying you'll never achieve it. All of your doubts and insecurities push their way to the surface. And when you mix a little distraction in with it, it can cause you to become complacent with what you're called / need to do. So I felt I needed something to remind me of what I was after, to keep it in front of my mind, so distractions in life couldn't pull me away from what I was after. So I put the vision board up above my computer, where I do a lot of my editing and writing and stuff like that, so I would see it and remember this is what I'm after. Honestly, having it up and seeing it every day has helped me push myself to grow and go after the things on that vision board. That being said, about a month ago, maybe a little longer, I'm not sure, I felt I needed to start thanking God now for what I put on that board. Start speaking in faith what God has promised me. We see examples of this with Abraham in the Bible. It wasn't until God changed Abram's name to Abraham, which means father of many, that he had the son God promised him. He had to speak it. And every time he heard his name, he heard, "You are the father of many nations." When we believe and speak, we need to believe and speak like the two spies, Caleb and Joshua, who said, "We can take the land God has promised us." Only when we begin to speak like that will we take possession of what is already ours. So in prayer, I've been thanking God for fulfilling everything on that board. But that's not all. A few other things I've been praying are, God, help me to see me the way you see me. My bishop told me to start praying this. And because when you see the way God sees you, because God sees us as what he's called us to be. And if we can see ourselves that way, then all the doubt, insecurity, it has to go. I've also been praying that I would know God's voice and be more sensitive to it. I think the bishop told me to pray. Because if you know God's voice and begin to speak and live the things he said, it will change everything. So I'm also praying that I will begin to walk in his ways. Because if you walk while walking in God's ways, everything you will prosper because you'll be in his will. Praying these things this year has changed my perspective because I'm getting more and more comfortable just letting things go and putting them in God's hands instead of trying to control everything myself. With that, I have seen God use me in ways this year I have not been used in before. And he's opened new doors that I've been trying to force open myself. I think the key here is walking in faith, letting things go, and letting God's voice lead you, and trusting in his timing instead of my own. has pushed me to grow this year in ways I didn't know I needed to. So I just want to encourage everyone to turn to God and put your trust in Him and take your life out of your hands and put it into God's hands. Even when things look impossible or don't make sense, if you trust God, it will turn out the way He promised it would be. We all have things that we are after. And if we can just stay focused, walk in faith, trusting and believing while putting in the work, God can elevate you in the right timing. You can look at the story of Joseph. He had dreams as a young man, and no matter where life took him, he kept his eyes on God and worked hard. And when the time was right, God elevated him, and God wants to do the same for us today. This has been Caleb's Take. If you want to watch this take and not just listen to it, check the show notes below. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you around. May the blessing of the Lord be upon you. Bye.